Hello friends, good to see you back. This is Sketchbook Time Machine. I'm Harper and today I'm going to be creating the illustration for a sketchbook journal entry from June of 2017. It's the story of Kurt, a true badass and good friend of mine from junior high who introduced me to Black Sabbath. It was one of those brief but pivotal eras of youth that stays with you for the rest of your life. But enough of this bullshit, let's get to it. June 6, 2017, The Riddle of Steel. A claw hammer in each clenched fist, windmilling wild swings and rushing at my brother like a pit bull on angel dust. "I'm gonna kill you!" over and over. "I'm gonna kill you!" Kurt yelled, his face as red as his hair and getting darker. A second later, the hammers hit the dirt with a useless double thud. "I'm gonna kill," was all that came out, as he was folded in half by a brutal submission hold I knew all too well. In Kurt's defense, my brother was 4 years older and on the high school wrestling team. Kurt took no shit. He was fearless, right up to the edge of madness. Always defiant, daring you to challenge him. I admired the hell out of him for that. In the beginning of our friendship, I thought that I had the upper hand. As kids, we secretly asked ourselves that Lord of the Flies question. If it came down to it, I mean really came down to it, who would win in a fight? I thought I would, because throughout history, the hierarchy of kids has usually been determined by age. I was older, therefore, my position was sound. Over time, I came to understand that I was severely mistaken. I was in the front yard fixing a flat tire on my bike when Kurt comes trudging up the street with a couple other kids in tow. Standing above me, the knuckles of both hands were scratched and red. "You know Dave Carson?" he asked. I knew him, a pretty tough kid in our school. "Yeah," I said. "I just kicked his ass." "He's in your grade," he said, with that casual implied threat that he was so good at delivering. The subtext was clear. I could take you down too if you ever crossed the line. A line that was known only to him. I was a grade above Kurt in junior high, and we lived on the same street. His house was the cool house. He was that friend who had HBO before anybody, all the food and cokes you wanted, and parents who let most shit slide. The exact opposite of my house. His weed was stashed behind the grill of the speaker cabinet on the far side of the waterbed, and the well-worn barbell on the opposite wall made me feel vaguely inferior. 50 reps a day, motherfucker, he'd say, curling that Kmart iron and staring at his biceps. Our hair was spiked on top and long in the back. Cool as shit. The word mullet hadn't been invented yet. We spent a lot of time in his room talking adolescent shit, building model cars, and listening to records. Van Halen, AC/DC, Scorpions, Priest, Deep Purple. He had a pretty decent-sized collection for a 13-year-old, and when his older brother wasn't around, it tripled. It was after dinner on a school night when I was at Kurt's painting flames on the plastic body of a '55 Chevy Highboy. Diary of a Madman was punishing the speakers for the millionth time when Kurt said, "Ozzy kicks ass, man, but the older shit is still better." "Older stuff?" I asked. "You mean like Blizzard of Oz?" "No, you dumb shit. I mean Black Sabbath." I had no idea who he was talking about. From one of the milk crates that held his brother's collection, he pulled out a solid black album with red lettering that read, "We sold our souls for rock and roll." "Check out the inside," he said. I opened the double album centerfold to reveal a nude woman covered by a thin black veil, lying in a coffin. She was pressing the pointed end of a large glowing crucifix to her chest, as if she were a vampire awaiting the fatal stake. "Whoa," I said. "This is some devil shit." I was just beginning to feel cool enough to add a few curse words to my vocabulary. I sat on the floor staring at the woman in the coffin as Kurt put the record on the turntable. He dropped the needle with a look that said, "Put away those childish things of youth, for today you become a man." The crackling hiss of vinyl slowly gave way to a gathering rainstorm and the toll of a church bell in some distant, dark tower. A foreboding death knell echoing down narrow cobblestone streets like a wraith from the grave. Supernatural thunder sent warning through the vibrating walls of the little room, and the doom was thick as river fog. Deliberately slow and long guitar notes, drums tumble and catch up, and a troubled voice asks a question in the dark. What is this that stands before me? Figure in black, which points at me. Turn round quick and start to run. Find out, I'm the chosen one. Satan appears and all is lost. Flames. The pace quickens, chasing down the poor soul foolish enough to accept the Faustian bargain. "No, no, please no," he begs, and the guitar envelops his cries for mercy with its wailing of lost souls. Sea change. The beginning of the end. That moment the student is given their first real sword from the master. There are only a handful of times in life when music has such an impact, when you feel it in your bones, in your being, knowing that yes, this was made for me. I'd felt those tremors a couple times before and have since, but this is clearly one of the standouts. I certainly couldn't borrow the album and listen to it in my church-going, good Christian household. 1983 was the spring season of the backward masking witch hunt, and religious folk burned such records in mile-high piles like Nazis in the 30s. Or like witches at black masses in this case. So of course, it was my go-to request whenever I went to his house. Being around Kurt was like going past the police tape at an arson fire in progress. You were compelled to know what lay beyond, yet fearful of what you might find. The same way I felt the first time I heard the mighty Black Sabbath. He passed this torch of understanding on to me. I was like a caveman discovering the knowledge of fire, or Conan receiving the answer to the Riddle of Steel. Throughout this journey of life, the people you meet along the trail help form and shape you into who you are now. Some of them are the bellows, others the anvil, and once in a while, you run into a hammer. Well, that's about it for today. Thanks for watching. If you thought this video was pretty awesome, give it a thumbs up. If you thought it sucked, I doubt it. Give it a thumbs down. And if you want to see all future videos, please subscribe to my channel. That would be cooler than getting front row tickets to see Dokken open for Motley Crue. And if you do subscribe, make sure you hit the notifications bell, and that way you'll never ever miss another Sketchbook video right here on the Time Machine. Later.